On this edition of Pano Off the Wall, what we're doing is a little bit different. We're meeting here for the kind of in a preview of the Alumni game down in San Diego. So we thought we'd get some veterans around. We've got veterans fans, and we got this veteran gentleman right here that's been around with the San Diego Sockers forever. This is Paul Wright, and we've got Cowboys Salazar over here too. And so we don't have a set script today. We're just going to sort of talk about old times, and I'll sort of get us started. Paul, one of the things that's so cool about you as an individual with in terms of the San Diego Sockers is that you bridge that gap from the as they say back in the day, and the current day. So tell me, how many rings do you have, and when and what years were those rings with the San Diego Sockers?
Oh gosh, well, thanks for having me. It's a great idea, great place to have it too. Yeah, I've got 7 rings. I think my first one was back in '88, '89 season. That was my first ring when the glory days with Jungle, Bronco, Quinny, Gene, all those guys.
Right.
We had a fabulous group, and and then we had great success. I think I won maybe 3 or 4 with that group, and then we had the second reincarnation with coaches.
Right.
Quinny as the coach.
Brian Quinn was the coach. Did you go to very many of those games, Cowboys?
Yes.
Did
Yes.
you? Because that was the period that I didn't go very often.
I've pretty much been to
Every game, all the time.
not
from the
every
beginning.
game, but I tried to make most of them, and the reason was because of work and that. So
Gotcha.
but it was such a huge crowd that at that time I was just another fan in the crowd and that, and I had the cowbell back then.
That's when they allowed you to bring the cowbell
Yes.
into the arena.
And the only thing that I had to move around. I couldn't just stay in one seat or have a season ticket per se, because especially I was afraid of kids and babies and their ears.
Okay.
When they brought the babies in that, when I'm ringing that cowbell, I had to be careful that.
Oh, by the way, everybody, that's Bowser.
Getting active. Getting active.
Come here, buddy. Yeah, Bowser's joining us today.
So yeah, that was I didn't have a specific seating and all that. Now when they came back again with starting with the PASL,
Right.
and that's when I got season tickets.
Yeah.
And that from then on.
Well, what do you remember from Paul during that set when Brian Quinn was playing?
He was 18 years old.
Well, that was when he first came on. Yeah.
When he first came on, and he was fast. I mean,
Crazy
guys,
fast.
The opponents were running as fast as they could, and I would say that Paul should have been a sprinter. He could have been on the U.S. national team or the England national team as a professional sprinter.
We're talking about the Olympics
Because he was just flying right by them. You know, they were running as fast as he can, but I don't know. He had another gear of his own, a speed.
That was kind of cool.
And it was speed.
Yeah. That was kind of cool because it was watching him sort of downshift in the way he goes.
Yeah.
Just put it in a lower gear,
I know.
or lower or faster
Or
gear.
faster either way.
gear.
Yeah. Boom.
Yeah, I had to learn how to adjust playing the indoor game from coming from playing outdoor.
Sure.
And using my speed on the wings and longer runs and things like that. So I had to kind of adjust how my movements and speed and explosion and things like that, how I use my speed. So yeah, I think I adapted pretty well.
Right. What was it that brought you into playing soccer originally? I mean, I know you were born in England. Did you grow up in England or did you grow up in the United States?
Yeah, I came over here when I was about 10 years old. I was just playing, high school at Rosemont High School out in East County.
Gotcha.
And the assistant coach of the soccer is Johan Arniel.
Arniel, I remember Johan Arniel. Yeah.
He was friends with the assistant coach of my high school team, and he told Johan to come out and watch this kid. And
Wow.
he came out and watched me, and long story short, they drafted me out of high school, and was developed for a year, and then started playing with the team after that.
Professional indoor soccer from that moment forward.
Renee Ortiz and I were the first ones to the Project 40 to get drafted and out of high school and take that route. So yeah, we were the pioneers of the whole thing.
Wow, that is really fascinating. There's one thing I'm not sure of this, but you played for the Kansas City Wizards in the MLS for a short time at least.
Yeah, 4 years I was there.
Was that under Ron Newman?
Ron Newman Newman was the head coach. Yeah.
Now,
Yeah,
how
Ron
amazing is that? I want to get. We're going off on rabbit trails. I want to get back to. The championship rings.
Okay. All right.
So, you got how many with the first group of the first team?
I had 4 with the first group, and I've got 3 with this current group, Phil and
Wow.
Giles and all those guys.
Wow.
Susie, that group. So I've got a total of 7, and that's how I ended it.
That's amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing. What was it like going from playing under Ron Newman for the San Diego Sockers indoors, and then going over to the Kansas City Wizards with this brand new MLS idea, and playing under him with the outdoor game?
It was really neat. After playing with him indoor for all those years and seeing how just brilliant he was as an indoor coach in the mind, and how creative he was just it was fantastic. And then to go outdoor and then to see how he really knew his. I didn't actually think he knew the outdoor game, but he sure did.
Right.
As he proved himself to really. Ron understands players, and he can find players, develop players, and he has a knack for putting a good group of players together and finding their strengths and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, he's a great guy.
Cowboys, when the MISL first started, or actually the Sockers were playing the NASL, and we had this team that wanted to stay playing outdoors. They missed that first year. They didn't go and play that first year of the NASL indoors. And then they came in and started doing just what they did. Ron Newman was the only guy that had 10 championship rings. Speaking to what you were just saying about his coaching and scouting and whatnot, the players changed through those 10 years, 11 years.
Constant.
It was there was a turnover of players, but the team held its own. What were your thoughts watching that as a fan? I mean, watching that just roll.
I'm going for me it was that I knew that Ron Newman was the brains behind it,
right?
And I didn't mind that new players came in that from other teams because of. And then losing players. Now that was a little on the sad part.
We started,
too, man.
As fans, we start loving these guys.
Why did you get rid of these guys? But when he brought them on, and then they still stayed champions.
Right.
No matter, didn't matter who they brought in or who left.
Right.
They still had the champion players.
Right.
And it's almost like even now it's the same thing.
I know.
And that because they keep this high level of professionalism in the game and in the sport, especially indoors.
Right.
So it didn't after a while it didn't affect me at all.
I know,
We were like, okay, yeah, you're the new kid on the block.
Right.
All right, yeah, you're now part of the Sockers.
So what was it like, Paul, coming into that team? First off, as a player, is there a mystique? Do the San Diego Sockers, especially back in the early days, did the San Diego Sockers have a reputation of I'm playing with the big boys now, or did that even exist?
Oh yeah, I have to say I was intimidated the first month or so of practicing with these guys. I had these guys' posters on my wall.
Right, exactly.
And now I'm practicing with them. So yeah, it took me a while just to kind of, get to that level,
right,
and get in my mind that I'm on that level, I'm playing on that level. Those guys were great to me. They helped me every step of the way. I wouldn't have developed as fast as I did if it wasn't for those guys really helping me with the indoor game and just kind of taking me under their wing. Bronco, Roddy, Jacques, all those guys. Ralph Black, when he came through here, I can just go on and on.
When you first came to the San Diego Sockers, was there any 1, 2, 3 guys specifically that really just took you under their wing?
Yeah, I would definitely say Bronco Segota was
really
definitely one of those guys.
Really?
That was very open in helping me, not threatened by, losing his position or me coming in. He was just very helpful and my progress as a player. Juan Hermes was great. Jacques Ladouceur was a great mentor.
Right.
Just as far as life, I'm an 18, 19-year-old kid.
Right.
So
Jacques a good man. Well, they're all good men. I got to know Jacques pretty well.
Yeah, so that was great. So, but I think those guys, and I tried to pick a little bit from each and every one's game, and I think that was probably the most beneficial thing, just picking a little bit from Quinny's game, from Bronco's game, from Julie's game, on and on. So
a bunch of guys whose numbers are retired up on the rafters.
Yes, I learned from the best.
Right.
I learned from the best.
What would you like to ask them?
To me, and I don't see why I don't know if there's still time to do that, but I felt that yours should have been up there on the rafters too.
I agree.
And
I
don't
definitely
know why
agree.
They haven't, or can it still be done?
Zoltan's is the most recent, and that was done in the last few years. But I'll tell you what, the reason that I feel the same way, primarily, is because of the length of impact that you gave the team, how many times you were there, your longevity, but more than that, your leadership in this new group of guys. I mean, now we've sort of jumped a couple of years, and now we're talking with this new group of guys playing in Del Mar, at the equestrian facility in Del Mar, and there's Paul Wright. I mean, there's the veteran. Yeah. There's the guy that knows the ropes. There's the guy that is
well, I think that's what Phil brought me on, and Nate. I remember going back to a meeting with Phil and Nate, and when they brought me out of retirement and convinced me to come back and help groom these guys, and Phil brought a bunch of great talented guys together, and it was just really natural just to come back and show these guys the soccer's way of winning,
right.
And how do we win, and that's what we did. I think I helped get these guys that winning mentality back and that confidence of, okay, yeah, we're soccer's, this is what we do, we win. And
right.
And then they've taken it and gone from there. But now, as far as the numbers on the rafters, I mean, that's obviously been a dream of mine since the first time I stepped on that field.
Sure.
Playing with those guys and so on and so forth, and that's the reason why I came back and to help this current group. And that's up for other people to decide. But
right.
I mean, I've got 7 rings. I've got the fastest goal in history. I've got the
that's right, you do.
History. I've played 3 different decades.
In fact, that goal will be highlighted on this video.
There's not much more I can do, right?
Now it's almost as that, I don't know, get me wrong on this, but you might be the player that has the most rings from the soccer.
It's possible. I mean, I know Ron has 10.
I don't know if anybody else other than Ron Newman.
Right. But it's possible.
Quinny?
Yeah. Quinny? I'm sure Quinny's got
Queenie? Yeah.
Maybe.
And Bronco, but I obviously, I mean, 7. I don't know if anyone's got more than 7, but I think that's got to be.
But the one thing that is substantial is, as we were mentioning, is that Paul, I think you're the only one that has the rings through both of the championship runs.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
I don't think there's another guy that does.
No.
And I mean that's huge. That's just a huge statement.
That alone is just special.
Absolutely.
That's just special to me, to be able to be part of that group of legends in the beginning and this new group of young guys that are established themselves,
right.
As winners too. So yeah, it's just real special to be part of both groups.
So let me talk to you about conditioning, man. I mean, so you got this career. What was it? 18 years?
What's my soccer career?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah. I played in my 40s, started in 18. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you stay fit? Clearly, I haven't been able to. How do you stay fit through that to where, I mean, it's not just a matter of staying fit, really. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about game ready. I'm talking about being game fit, to where you're on there and you're doing it and you're owning it. I mean, you have those moments. There was a goal that you scored
in the finals of the last time we won.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right. They put the ball ahead. You went and you chased it down and that, and then goalie's coming out and you just slide it right past him. He's just like.
Yeah. That was huge because that kind of changed the momentum of the game and got us, got that confidence
right.
going. And I think that's kind of what I've always brought to the group, the old group, the new group,
right.
Just that confidence that we can score at any moment. We can get back in this game. We're never out of it. That kind of thing.
So what's been your secret? What's your thing? Just keep moving, keep running, keep doing your.
Yeah, I just
your
never
training?
never got out of shape. I always tell myself I don't want to be more than 3 weeks away from being at top shape.
Wow.
So I always kind of keep myself at a certain level where, if I get a call from Phil or someone or Sean, I'm 3 weeks away from
There it is.
from being able to do my thing again. So no, it's just always just trying to stay as fit as I can.
That's awesome.
You don't mind me asking a question?
No,
right?
knock it out.
Okay, yeah. So, you own a company, Speed to Burn?
Yeah, that's my training company, Speed to Burn.
Now that's the one that possibly keeps you up there too, or is it other than that? Because
You don't want to be owning a company called
name
Speed
is
to Burn.
Speed to Burn.
Right.
Yeah, and he's the. I mean,
Yeah.
you get some other guys older and stuff
Yeah.
out there, younger guys and all that, and this guy can still. He's got Speed to Burn.
And what's the focus of that company?
It is strictly speed and agility, explosion, and it's. I have NFL wide receivers, defensive backs. I've got collegiate football players, college, basketball, soccer, football. Lacrosse. I have all sports that I train for, and it's just one of those things that speed is so important. I realized it in soccer.
Sure.
It kept me in soccer for all those years, and
Right.
and just there's a technique to it. There's something to it that you can teach speed, and I've been doing it for years, and I enjoy doing it, and I love doing it with all different athletes from all different capacities. And
That's
levels
awesome.
and stuff like that. So,
That's awesome. And Speed to Burn is here in San Diego.
yeah, it's based out here in San Diego. We go. I'm all over, but I'm based out here in San Diego. But yeah, we travel. But
Now you've also been invited back to England and that because of your Speed to Burn. I do recall
Yeah.
something like that.
It's kind of the reincarnation of me, really.
Really?
Outside of the soccer, like people know me from Speed to Burn. Didn't know that I played soccer. People know.
Well,
I
that's
played
great.
soccer,
That's
don't know about Speed to Burn.
reinvention. That's awesome.
Yeah. So but no, that it's been great. I've had a chance to work with Fulham over in England. I've sent kids over there. They've sent kids to me to work with.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I've got a kid, Luca Del Torre. He plays for the Fulham first team now at the moment, and just kids, that have groomed here, and now kind of my stable, as I call it, and they go out and do their thing after that. But we groom them here, and we get them ready for the next level.
In fact, I'll share a little story because Gert Wierzchowski and Lawrence Hilkus and I think Eric Geyer, these guys are all Germans.
Yeah.
Okay. There was a German flavor on the San Diego Sockers back then, and there was a game that I was at. It was outdoors, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the referee pulls a red card out of his pocket and ejects Gert. Wierzchowski's out of the game. Didn't see anything on the field. The next morning, back then, this is when the newspapers used to cover the Sockers, and that morning paper, I'm reading through the article, and Gert was interviewed, and he says, "How did I know that the referee spoke German?"
I heard that story. I did hear that story. That was funny.
and it was one of the jokes used to be that the Sockers were sort of a Tower of Babel kind of a thing, because you had so many different international players. But then the new team came back, and the new idea was all the local flavor. Just a bunch of local guys. Chris and Craig and yourself, and it's a bunch of guys that had roots here in the community. Cheeky, Anthony. All of these guys that are local guys made good. And Aaron Susi, that are from the town. And it was really cool because now all of a sudden you've got a team in your city that isn't just your team by name, up in the lights. It's your team by locals.
Yeah. Yeah, that was fantastic. I think I remember talking to Phil about that, and he was saying I want to, promote that and get guys right here in San Diego. And we had maybe one or two guys from. I remember Miguel came in from Stockton or something like that. Farber came down too. But when we first originally brought this team together, they were 90% all from San Diego.
So now you have San Diego guys, and not just San Diego guys, but winning championships.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Wasn't that cool?
That was really a homegrown feel to that.
Right. It was really, really cool. And I did. You're seeing Aaron Susi growing up in Mission Bay, and Craig growing up in Poway, and Cheeky growing up in Vista.
Oh, yeah. Susie and Nate Etherington out there surfing and coming out.
Absolutely, coming off the water.
Onto the field.
Yeah.
It was just classic.
Really, really, really cool. What did that do to just the chemistry on the field? I mean, as opposed to what it had been with all the international, somewhat superstars. I mean, when you look at Kaz Dana, for instance, and some of the guys, Volkmar Gross, and some of the guys that were back in the day, having the local guys on the field, how was that? I mean, how did that feel, just the overall feel of the game?
Yeah, it was really good because we all knew each other. We all kind of grew up together, and we all knew how important it was to win and to keep the streak alive,
right?
And keep putting championships up. So
right.
So yeah, we had obviously a big responsibility, but we embraced it. We knew that we have the talent. We always thought we have the most talent here in San Diego, and it was a great time to prove it.
Yeah,
I think we did.
You see in YouTube and that a lot of new kids up in that, and they got all these new moves and fakes and all that, but you watch the top teams in that, and they're mostly team players, not individual players in that. And I was going to ask you, what about the coaching? Do they really frown upon that, as far as a guy doing a back heel, or even back in the old day, what they used to do is they could take that ball, and the goalie's here, defender's here, the forward V, and he takes the ball, and from his right he pulls it around and scores the goal back way, just because he used his
right.
But I'm not sure if they frown upon it. You doing back heel passes and that. Or...
Here's the difference between coaches. Ron Newman, it would be fine. Brian Quinn would probably pull you off the field. So just difference in styles.
So
what about Baltimore then? His coach, what would he do that also? Would he take you off the field if you did something fancy?
Yeah, it depends. It really all depends on your success level and how good you are.
Okay.
I mean, anyone can try those things, and if you're not successful, you're just you're back on YouTube. Right? That's why you're on YouTube, not playing professional. So yeah, that's the difference. If you can obviously pull that stuff off on the field and
be good and advantageous for the team.
Yeah, more power to you. But if you're just trying stuff like that and it's not successful, you're just another one of those YouTube sensations.
YouTube sensations. Not wanting to bring up names, I'm going to bring a question up that may or may not have names come to mind. But there always are in any team throughout the life of a franchise. The big shot, hot shot, that comes through and really isn't a team player. The Sockers, generally speaking, have had that as a team sport, and they've also had the chemistry on the field.
Yeah.
To know, without Brian was mentioning this, knowing where the other guy is, knowing what he's doing, to what Cowboys was just saying, is there finger pointing? Do you remember on the franchise? Do you remember with the San Diego Sockers? Do you remember finger pointing and why didn't you pass me the ball instead of hot shotting?
I'm wide open on the opposite end and
that kind of thing.
You want to take on 2 or 3
that?
players or something.
We'll go back to the first reincarnation with Julie and Bronco and Hugo Perez and Brian and all those guys. There was fighting all the time. Practice, games, halftime, on the bench. There was fighting all the time. And, I think
I heard a lot of that too.
Ron was like a referee.
Right.
All the Eric Geyer, he was like a referee.
Right.
It was a lot of fighting. A lot of fighting.
I was talking with my fiance about that the other day, about how I got the impression that team, the early San Diego Sockers, didn't necessarily like each other. As far as the individual player to player, you're not going to find them necessarily going to the bar together after the game. Now, I don't know that, because I wasn't privy one way or the other, but just the feeling. Did you get that feeling at all?
Yes.
But
there was
when we won one
lot
championship,
of arguing what you're talking about.
we're all together celebrating afterwards. Yeah.
Wow. But I don't get that impression with the current team. With the current team, I get the feeling that there's a lot of brotherhood. I mean, off the field.
Yeah,
I see that.
Yeah. I've been in the locker room a couple of times and, talk to the guys and, see them sometimes before the game and all that. And there is a lot of camaraderie there. And, talking to the guys, they really feel like, this is a special team.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited for them.
So now you've got a team here in San Diego that has brought in a lot of Latin players. A lot of guys from Mexico are playing on the team. Mm-hmm. And they are feeling the measure of success. There's also a lot of teams, not just the Mexican teams, that have brought in a lot of Mexican players. In fact, El Paso, Turlock, they're essentially a Mexican team.
Rio Grande Valley.
Rio Grande Valley, yeah, these guys. So what's your take on that? Is that an improvement for the game? Is that a good thing for the sport overall?
Well, I think it's great. I think they're very technical and they're good players. But I just go to the point where there just has to be one style of play on the field. If we have a group of whoever.
For a specific team, you mean?
Yeah, specific team. They have to be on the same page. And,
right.
And playing the same, have the same ideas and so on and so forth. So I think it's fine as long as everyone's on board.
Yeah.
How the style of play.
Oh wait, you know what? I've got to go backwards a little bit. You went to Anaheim Bolts? What was that all about, bro?
Oh, yeah.
Well, okay, so what was that all about? You come down into San Diego and it's my house. I remember you saying that. This is my house.
Yeah.
I just want to give you a little hard time about
that. That's just one of the things with me. When things get easy, I look for a challenge.
Right.
And things were just, like I said, the league was so watered down.
Right.
And we were just winning, and we were winning by such a large margin.
Right.
And it just wasn't fun. It was fun. Yeah, it was fun celebrating winning championships.
Sure.
But there was no challenge. There was no challenge, and I'm just the kind of person that I'm always looking for a challenge. And I went, and there was a convenient challenge just down the road, and seeing if I could beat this big group of guys that my teammates, my brothers.
Yes.
And seeing if
that was classic.
Seeing if I could do it. And I remember coming to
right, exactly. It was classic.
And it was.
I want to know what.
It was good. It was good for the game. We needed some sort of rivalry. We needed something.
Well, you made a rivalry, okay?
Exactly.
Yeah. What did this is a rhetorical question. What did Bernie Lillivois promise you for that, man? I mean, come on.
No, it wasn't about Bernie. It was just strictly about me trying to challenge myself again.
Right.
At that age, and I thought that, you know what, gosh, I can still, run a team. I can still take a team, whatever I want to do. So it was just me challenging myself
Very
at that age to see what I could do.
I love you to death, man, but there was a year that you weren't I wasn't your biggest fan.
That's okay. That's okay. As long as you know why I did it, it's okay.
Yeah. And let's talk a little bit about individual moments you remember. We've got a 3-second goal. Talk about it.
Oh gosh. So that goal, we practiced that in practice a lot, and actually we did it in practice. Wad and I against we would scrimmage each other in practice. So we knew it could work if the defense was up really close, and so we just strolled into Baltimore, and they always are trying to go at us right away, and we just kind of used it against them. We saw that they were up really close, and we just kind of had that eye contact and. You could see we switched positions so I could get in the right position, and then the rest is history. He just flicks it over, and I'm off as soon as the whistle blows. And we caught him flat-footed, and the rest is history.
The other thing that's coming up is the San Diego Sockers Alumni game, and before we started this video, I had the opportunity to talk to Paul about why his name wasn't on the roster, and I'm going to throw this out there because I think I'm going to own it for my own. I think it's an awesome point. The game is a great opportunity for us to see these players, to see these guys come back from,
retirement,
press it with the fans, so on and so forth. but the format is not a real competitive, I'm going to win game. They're out there having fun. Now, of course, we don't want any of these guys to get hurt. Okay. But I have to agree with something that Paul had mentioned, and it would be more fun if it was an honest, competitive opportunity for these guys to mean what they're doing and have a serious competition. Do you want to talk to that a little bit, Paul?
Yeah, I think we should have a draft like the NBA draft.
There you go.
The All-Star game. Yeah,
there we go.
I think that's what we do. We pick teams.
There we go.
So
you get it. So
you got Victor in one goal.
That's right.
Zoltan Toth in the other goal.
That's right.
And maybe they pick the teams. Who knows?
That's right. There you go.
We got 5-on-5.
that would be cool.
Wouldn't that be cool?
Yes.
Okay. MASL.
Just make it competitive. Again, I'm always looking for a challenge.
Yes.
Again, that's not what's going on right now. Is just a bunch of 20 players running around on the field, and it's not a challenge. So if we're going to do it, let's do it right. Let's pick teams. Let's play a real game.
So from the fans' perspective, there's the players' perspective. From the fans' perspective, of course, we just love seeing these guys. Okay, but right? I mean, we do. We just love seeing these guys. But it would be more fun if it was a real game. It would be a lot more fun.
It would be a lot more entertaining. That's for sure.
Yeah, it really would. Blue cards and ejections and
yes.
All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and head on down to Hooters. And I really want to thank Cowboys Salazar and Paul Wright coming up here to Presidio Park in San Diego to have just a chat. Hope you guys enjoy this. This is Ponto Off the Wall. And just for the plug, we are with Turf and Boards and MASL Off the Wall. Thanks, everybody, for watching. All right. Bye-bye.
To Dougherty. Great ball into space for the speedy right. He blows past Coulson. Knocks it away as Johns is on a goal. Right across goal. Tim Whitman. What a great effort. And it started with Dougherty. Here, the pass has already been made. Look at that burst. And because it's Paul Wright, Johns knows that Coulson will be beaten. He has to come out. Wright ideally will get this ball back to himself to kick it in. Instead it goes across. May have been going in anyway.
Field day, 6 goals. This right footer got by Mike Deller. Later from the corner, Wright again with the right foot, corner of the net. Then Wright tried another part of the anatomy. He went high in the air, put one in with his head. Then on the restart, Wright with a rocket.
Restart, Paul Wright scores! A drive right off the dot, and Paul Wright, who, if you heard us at halftime, dedicated this game to his visiting relatives from England. They've got something to cheer about back in San Diego. It's 4-1. Look at Paul just stride into this and nail it past the wall, past the defender, and past Gorsuch.
With his power play of late, he'd love to see one right here.
Here's Paul Wright. Is anybody who can deliver? He can, and he does! Paul Wright scores! What a release of that shot! Paul Wright with a rocket. Look at this. Our cameraman did a great job just keeping up with that one. It was moving. Gorsuch only able to reach his hand out and wave bye-bye.
Ball up the wing for Paul Wright. He's got West Wade with him, 2-on-2. Wright puts a first to speed pass.
And he scores! Paul Wright. Did he change gears on Dave Hagen or what? Just blew by him. Johns could see it coming. He had to commit. And Paul Wright, with his great poise, just slips it past P.J. Johns, and the Sockers are back to within a goal. Watch the burst of speed, even in slow motion. Right there, boom, he changes gears. Hagen is out of it, and P.J. Johns kind of under rhythm after somewhat of a slow start. Here's Paul Wright, 3-on-3. Wright in front to UC, and he scores! Great job on the deflection by UC, and he redirects it with his back to the goal, past P.J. Johns.
Wright went to work. He posts up, scores with the left foot. Then it's Wright blasting one home with his right foot. He even went between the legs of Ralph Black to score his 3rd goal. And watch the control of Paul Wright on this break for his 4th goal of the night. That gave the Sockers a 6-3 lead, and they went on to beat Tacoma 9-4.
Away from indoor championship number 8.
they win it. We'll have the celebration for you, and almost a celebration there, and Manning's hurt. Manning is hurt, taking a shot by Paul Wright right down the slot, and he might have taken it right in the face. Oh, what a shot by Wright coming down as he bullets one into Manning, and he is down. Here it is again. Right down the middle he comes. Let's see if Manning takes it right off the face. Right off the face. And Manning might be out. You can see he was all right for an instant, and then he just could not continue. And it appeared as though Manning just went out. Paul Wright, right down the middle, toe poke, straight off the face of Scott Manning. And Manning obviously stunned. One more time from that front angle, you see Manning could not react in time. No chance. Paul Wright just 6-7 feet away. Manning tried to get up, could not, stumbled back, and right there it appears as though he went out.
Perennial all-star defender Kevin Crow at the back. Sox going from right to left and score off the kickoff as Paul Wright continues to blaze, putting the ball in the back of the net, and that's worth looking at once again. That will be the fastest goal probably in the history of the MISL, or make it the MSL. Boy, that couldn't have been more than 3 seconds, if that much. The kickoff, one bounce on the half volley with the right foot, and Paul Wright says, "Hello, Baltimore." Scott Manning, welcome back with a goal that was scored in a matter of seconds. And we'll get the official scoring as Baltimore kicks it off, and they'll go.
And head it to his keeper, Christo. Sampson, 6'3", 220 pounds, one of the biggest target forwards in the league. Here's a run ball. It's Paul Wright. Paul Wright has scored. Paul Wright has his first goal since the second half of the season in his last ever arena soccer game. P3 delivers. A magic touch down the middle.